Good evening. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Come on in, like and share. Happy Friday. We made it another week, and it's been a long year this week, hasn't it? Hey, people. Come in, send your greetings. Tell me who's on. Hey, Mo, you made it on time tonight, girl. You made it on time tonight. Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. All right, well, I'm going to get started. We got people in. I don't want to, take up people's time. I started a minute late. Hey, Alera, I miss you. I had a dream and you was in it. I just want to tell you that. Hey, Adrian, I miss you guys. Today was crazy. I ended up going out. Missed a few weeks. I'm back. Oh, well, thanks for coming back. You can always catch the replays on Facebook or YouTube. Hope everyone is doing well. Hey, sis. Hey, Keisha. I'm going to text you when this is over because I meant to text you, but I started running around. I got home like at 7:30. And I'm normally like put together and everything was a mess. I realized that one of my earrings, I lost them, and it got to like 10 minutes to 9. And I'm like, okay, so do I put on lipstick or do I put on earrings? Because I didn't want to be too late. So I chose lipstick over earrings because you can't really see my ears, but I just didn't want to be washed out with the white background and stuff. So anyway, happy Friday. What a long year this week has been. It has been crazy. I hope that we all are doing well with the events that have taken place this week. And even though it wasn't us per se, I saw a Black therapist talk about secondary trauma and how a lot of Black people going through that. And I kind of like low-key think I went through that because I was sitting in horror and my stomach was churning at everything that was happening. And like everyone else, I just couldn't help but think if that was us, it would have never happened. But anyway, I don't want to bring down the mood. That is not what tonight is about, even though it does have a little bit to do with politics, but that is not what it's about. So before I get started, welcome to Cultivating Conversations. Happy Friday. This is season 2, episode 6. And this episode is about the lessons that Stacey Abrams can teach us. She's been in the news a lot, and even the more so this week. And just watching a tidbit of her life, I just really started thinking about the lessons that can be learned. Like I say all the time, I always seek God, and I'm like, Lord, what do you want me to talk about this week? And as I was waiting for him to give me the topic or, whatever, I didn't iron my shirt either. I just want to say that. I didn't iron my shirt. I didn't have time. Whatever. Anyway, as I was waiting for him to, give me the topic, it just dropped in my spirit, and he just started really, really ministering to me about her and, her actions and the lessons that we can learn. And I know that he wants me to share that with you. So before I get started, any newbies, thanks for joining. I'm your host, Stacey T, and Cultivating Conversations is a podcast that is a safe space and a platform to have difficult topics and hard topics about the elephant in the room, the things that we don't want to talk about. It's a safe space to talk about them because in order for us to heal and be whole and move on, there's certain conversations that we have to have. And oftentimes we don't like to have them. But on this platform, even though I'm the only one that's talking, although I do have guests come on from time to time, the whole purpose is to cultivate lives and to cultivate hearts and to cultivate minds. We know in gardening that in order for something to grow, a seed has to be planted. into fertile soil. And in order for that seed to grow, the ground needs to be cultivated and it needs to be ready to receive the seed. So my whole purpose for this platform is to cultivate the hearts and the minds, like I said, and to plant that seed. And hopefully that seed will germinate and cause more conversations, whether it's conversations you have with yourself, your loved ones, your friends, colleagues, in an effort to bring about wholeness and healing and reconciliation and all of that good stuff. Okay? So thanks for joining me. And tonight is about Stacey Abrams. So let's jump right into it, because I think I've been doing good the past couple of episodes where I haven't been going past an hour, but you know, if we do, we do. Stacey Abrams. The first thing that I want to say is, when I was looking and researching, I found out that Stacey Abrams and I have, our names are almost identical. Okay. Her name is Stacey Yvonne Abrams. My name is Stacey Yvonne Thomas. How about that? I was like, this is why I have a connection, Jesus. Okay. So I felt a little good about that. I just wanted to say that. That ain't got nothing to do with the points that I'm making, but that's my personal point that I wanted to share. We have nearly the same name, but we're not related. But she is a sister and I'm proud. So anyway, Stacey Yvonne Abrams, she served in the House of Representatives from 2007 to 2017. She ran for the 2018 Georgia gubernatorial election, becoming the first African-American woman to run for a major party as governor in the United States. Okay? First African-American woman. However, Stacey Abrams lost to Brian Kemp, and there were accusations of him cheating by using voter suppression, which became the buzzword from 2018, because we know that historically we Blacks were already always most times suppressed, oppressed, and things like that. And we know that there was some shiesty things going on with voting, but we actually had a term to put to it. And whether that, I don't know if that term existed before 2018, but it was definitely something that became a household term, especially in Black and brown homes after 2018. Despite how Stacey Abrams not only handled, since 2018, Stacey Abrams, she not only had to deal with the loss of the election, but she also had to deal with the loss as a result of her opponent cheating. And to add more insult to injury, she had to deal with the racist rhetoric and off-color, downright disrespectful words and jokes spewed by politicians and regular folk alike. And I'll talk about, many of you may have seen a clear example of that. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, but I'll get into that. Well, it's not in my notes, so let me just say, there's a coach who he tweeted something very nasty. And mind you, actually it was on Wednesday, because it was Wednesday night after the insurrection. After all of the ugliness that we saw and how lives were lost, this person tweeted and added Stacey Abrams to the tweet. And because of him, because of what he did, he has now gone from coach to couch because he lost his job. Anyway, with all of this prior to today, because it wasn't only that she lost, it's that they were rubbing it in her face. They were calling her names, as if, you have the audacity to be a Black woman and think that you can not only run, be in the Senate and things like that, and be a politician, but have the nerve to think that you are going to run for governor of Georgia and win, and you're Black and you're a woman. But despite all of that, Stacey Abrams, she maintained her integrity and gained so much more, in my opinion, and we're going to unpack that tonight. She gained so much more, even with everything that happened. So let's have a cultivating conversation about what lessons we can learn and apply them to our daily lives, shall we? Because truth be told, we're still living in this era of clean slate. It's still the first month of 2021, and it is the 8th day. So as we are doing vision boards, writing our goals, wanting to turn over a new leaf, whatever, I think that these things can really help to set the trajectory of this year. Okay, so the first lesson that I want to share with you is stay focused. That's real big. Okay, I guess they want us to stay focused, or the Lord wants us to stay focused. Stay focused. Stay focused. Always look at the bigger picture, okay? Stacey Abrams had a plan. She wanted to run for governor. She wanted to win. And a lot of us, you know, in our adult lives, we have career goals. We want to climb the ladder of whatever area that we in, and we have a goal in mind. And I'm sure that, you know, she wanted to obviously be governor for more than one reason. She had, you know, served on the Senate for all of those years. I think it was 10 years. And she wanted to take a career higher and possibly get to like the highest position or around it. And so she had a plan, and the plan fell through. The plan fell through, but regardless of that, regardless of the chatter, regardless of what people were saying, she stayed focused. So for us, you know, especially, and I want to preface this and give the undertone of the fact that everything that happened to her happened publicly. Right? It happened publicly. So when things happen to you publicly, people who are watching on the sidelines are looking and waiting to see what your response is going to be for more than one reason. They either want to learn from you or they want to use it against you. And she had to stay focused. Even though she lost that seat. You know, it was cheating. It was so much going on, but she stayed focused. And because she stayed focused, she was allowed to do. So I have three principles, three lessons, but this was the primary lesson because this is something that could have really gotten to her. She could have went on a tirade. She could have went on all of the news channels and, you know, tried to defend herself and speak ill of Kemp because, you know, we know, I didn't want to mention his name, the current governor. We know that with politicians, they recently, like, I don't feel like it used to be like this before. They spend more time pointing out their opponent's flaws than pointing at themselves in what they will do. Or they will point out their opponent's flaws in addition to. And even in regular layman's, you know, groups, churches, schools, whatever, we have those people. You know, it's just what we do. It's human nature, especially when you feel attacked. Most times when people feel attacked, their first thing to do is to go on the defense and strike back at the person that is attacking them. And she didn't do that. She put a label to what was happening. She went on the newscast, you know, all the interviews, and she started talking about what wasn't right. But then she stayed focused. She didn't vilify the person that attacked her. All she did was state the facts. And she devised a plan. And the only way that she could devise the plan of what she would do next is because she stayed focused. So what am I saying? When things happen to us, especially when they are made public and the public is watching, it's not so much that you're doing it for the public, but it is that you're doing it for the public because you got to show a different way. I know that there were people waiting to pull the angry black woman card, because they do that all the time, even when we're not angry, even when we're not raising our voices. It's just a poor excuse that they use. They were waiting for that. She never once gave that to them, to any of them. My hair's really getting on my nerves. Sorry. She never once gave that to them. And that's admirable. Okay, so that is the first lesson or first principle. I feel like I'm spinning with these Invisalign to get on my nerves. Stay focused, okay? Regardless of what is happening, regardless of what may happen in 2021, stay focused, okay? Stay focused. Whatever it is that you're supposed to do, even when, and even if what you plan to do doesn't work out and life kind of throws you a monkey wrench, stay focused and keep moving anyway. That's what our beloved Stacey Abrams did, okay? The second principle, or the second lesson that I learned was, don't allow, I knew this was going to happen, don't allow the actions of others to pull you out of character, okay? Don't allow the actions of others to pull you out of character. Again, here we are. You know, all of the people that was talking and laughing and celebrating, like, you ain't have no business, you know, running for, you know, governor anyway. You need to stay in your place. And, you know, God knows, I know we heard about some things, and I think I probably saw some tweets, but it's so long ago I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure they were really like turning the knife. But again, she took the high road. She took the high road. And here was the thing that I saw that was so intriguing. The narrative became less about her and what happened and more about dealing with the root. It became less about her. She didn't go on, you know, a 16-city tour trying to talk to everyone about how horrible this man was and about what he did. It was obvious what he did. And I believe that part of her felt like sooner or later, the truth is going to come out. So what did she do instead? She dealt with the root. The root wasn't about, it wasn't only about what the person did with the person, but it's about what they did. It wasn't about the governor. It was about what the governor was given power to do. The governor was given power to do that because all of these years, how many people have we met that said, I've never voted before until 2020 or 2016. You know, I never thought my vote counted. I never knew about the electoral college votes. Like, there's so much information we didn't know, and it kept us in the dark with the rhetoric, because when so many people are telling you the same thing, you tend to believe what everybody is saying, because it's the notion that everybody can't be wrong. And sometimes everybody can be wrong, depending on what the context is and what's being said. So Stacey Abrams, she just galvanized so many people, and she kept what was important. What is the top priority? The top priority and the main thing is talking about voter suppression. It wasn't about, he hurt my feelings, he called me, or whoever called me, whatever, and this isn't right. I'm a black woman. Like, we know that, and that is worth, you know, but she talked about voter suppression because she knew that it was bigger than her. She knew that it was bigger than the insults that were being hurled at her. She knew that there were thousands and thousands and millions of black and brown people who were not educated when it came to voting, and she took it upon herself to put her feelings aside for the greater good. Okay, let me see what it says. Yes, Keisha. It doesn't always feel good when taking the high road. Let me tell you something from personal experience. It is always worth it. And we're going to talk about that, because the high road that she took was actually the lower road that put her at a higher stature without the clout and the titles and the seat that she originally wanted to be in. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but absolutely, it does not always feel good. So don't allow the actions of others to pull you out of character. Okay? You don't have to explain yourself, and I'm talking about us. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to go and try to figure out who is saying what and what they said and no, well, let me tell you my side and let me tell you what really happened. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You legit don't have to do that. Just do what you're supposed to do, because there's always a bigger picture. There's always a bigger end goal. And we may not understand the end goal, but God always understands what the end goal is. And we may not be able to see it, and it may hurt. It may hurt. But when you take the high road, as Keisha said, it is worth it. And maybe not in the moment when so much is happening and you are in your feelings, because we do get in our feelings. We're human. You know, we don't like to be hurt. We don't like for people to hurt us. We don't like people to talk about us. We don't like people to form conspiracy groups and chats and all of this other garbage. We don't like that. And to sit and not say anything, it hurts. It hurts. But in the long run, when you stay focused, she literally shifted the path for her to go on. She shifted the path for her to go on. Hey, Nicole. Did I call you back? Oh, I didn't call you back. All right, we'll talk later. I forgot to call you back when I got that way. Yeah, it's always great to take the high road, because you don't know what God has for you. And I wanted to interject this. There's a cliche that says every good idea is not a God idea, right? We've heard that. And when people have said that, or when it has been spoken, the context that goes with it is that you may have a plan, but God has another plan, which makes your plan null and void, as if to say, like, you may have a good idea, but that's not what God would have for you to do, right? As if, like, your plan, is not altogether right. Her plan was a good plan to get to the Senate and the House of Representatives and be governor and all of that stuff. And she may have had in her mind about the thing that she wanted to do. And it may have been centered around what she is doing now, but God had to take her a different route, because she may not, more than likely, have had the clout that she has now, and she may not have been as effective as governor as she is with her boots on the ground, so to speak. All right. So my third lesson, or I don't want to say lesson like I'm doing a teaching, but the lesson that she's showing us, number 3, allow the fiery darts people hurl at you to become the fuel that fans the flames of your purpose. Okay? Allow the fiery darts people hurl at you to become the fuel that fans the flames of your purpose. Again, just like Keisha was saying, it doesn't feel good, but it pays off at the end. And I'm sure in Stacey Abrams' mind, there were so many things that she wanted to do. There were so many legislation she wanted to put into effect, and things she wanted to do for her people, and affect change and all of that. But like I just said, with her being in the governor's seat, she probably would not have been able to galvanize the people like she did just as a regular politician. Okay, and I say that loosely, a regular politician, and I say that in comparison to being governor. Okay, because of her efforts that she led, there were other people. So there were other people that were helping in Georgia, but she has literally been on this since 2018. Okay, she helped to get the president-elect Joe Biden and Madam Vice President-elect Kamala Harris elected for president and vice president. She helped. I think they said president-elect, like this particular election had the most black votes, even surpassing Obama. Now, a lot of it was probably because, we want this I can't even say human being. We want this person who is currently there out. But still, there was still the rhetoric about black votes not counting and things like that. And she led that effort. She would not have necessarily been able to do that. I believe, in my humble opinion, she would not have been able to do that had she been in that government seat. Okay. And not only, thanks to Adrian, not only did she help to get President-elect Biden elected and to win this election, but she turned around. She didn't keep going. She kept moving, and she helped and led the charge in having our first African-American man who is the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church, where Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King, I think he was the pastor there at one time, and that's where they worshiped. And John Arthur, who's a Jew. They're both Democrats. So now we know that the House has flipped to blue in Georgia because of her. She would not have been able to do that. I really don't believe, or do it to the magnitude and with the fervor that she has done it in this lower position. Okay. Keisha says she proved them wrong and still made it to the top. Even if it wasn't the top she wanted, it was the top she was supposed to be on. But let me tell you, and your comment is so spot on, because as she went from potential candidate for governor of Georgia, demoted or lost to be, to take a lower position as a politician, but surpassed everybody, because when it was time for President-elect Biden to start thinking about who his VP candidate was going to be, and when it was learned that he was possibly going to pick a black woman, her name was thrown in the hat. Her name. Not these governors, not these men, not these melanated deficient men, but black women. Her name was thrown in the hat. Her name was thrown in the hat about, possibly being a part of his cabinet. Oh, that is a conversation that most politicians would aspire to. Even if I don't make it into your cabinet, even if I don't make it as your VP pick, the fact that you think, or you put me in the name to be counted as even a possibility, it's something to, pump your chest about. And this is what she was able to do as a politician, because she lost. This is what she was able to do. Her name is going to go down in the history books. And let me just also add that in 2018, I wrote it somewhere. In 2018, after the election, she formulated, where did I write it at? She formulated an organization, the Fair Fight Action. She organized the Fair Fight Action in 2018, which addresses voter suppression. She may not have done that, or it may have taken her a little longer, because as governor, you have so many other things to do. Because she lost, she was able to put all of her efforts, and there was memes and Facebook posts talking about, they're probably mad that they cheated her. Because they cheated her, she ended up doing more as a result of a loss than if she won. So what does that say to us? What does that say to us? Allow the fiery darts people hurl at you to become the fuel that fans the flames for your purpose. Okay? She took those darts of cheating and being swindled out of the election, and all of the rhetoric and all of the insults that they hurled at her, and all of the negative things that they said to her and said about her, the rumors that they tried to spread about her, just trying to discredit her. Because when people can't discredit you, then they will try to spread things or try to cheat something from you, because they want to take it from you, so that you won't have the power that they think that you have, and so on and so forth. She did not allow any of that to sway her, to move her. She didn't give up. And because she yielded to the new track or the new trajectory that was placed before her, she ended up doing more than she would have ever done. So what does that say to us? Okay, when things happen to you, and again, I say, especially when things happen and they become public consumption, people are watching, people are looking, there's always a greater good and a bigger picture and a more divine reason as to why things happen to you, especially when they happen to you in the open. Always. There's always a message in it. There's always a purpose for it. There's always something that God is going to do with it. But if you don't stay focused, and if you don't allow, and if you allow the actions of others to pull you out of character, you may never self-actualize the actual plan that God had for whatever pain, whatever loss, whatever cheating, whatever slight that has happened to you. You may miss it. Because if you get too busy getting caught up in the pettiness and the running around and trying to tell your side and doing all of this and doing all of that and get people back and so on and so forth, you're going to miss it. If she had gotten caught up in her own emotions, which she, flesh speaking, she made people would say she will be well within her rights, because who doesn't want to defend their name? But because she looked at the greater picture and she stayed focused, and she did not allow those people to pull her down. Look at what happened. This person that's in the office could have very well still been in office. He could have won a second term. We know that the number of votes between the two candidates were too close. They weren't that close, but they were too close for how this man and who this man proved himself to be. Hey, Serena, they were too close, so he could have won. And if she had gotten in her feelings, if she had made this personal, even though it was personal, but if she had really made this personal, she would have missed everything, and we would have missed everything. Would God have sent somebody else to do it? Yeah, because it was his will that, this would be what it is. but she would have been the person to do it, and it may not have been the turnout to where or the result of it. She's a Black woman who led the charge. So it makes us as Black women proud. She's Black, period. So it makes all Black people proud. You know, it shows our, as women, our resiliency and another example to get things done. But this was on such a bigger scale because everybody's lives would have been at stake. And Wednesday was a clear indication of that, right? So, you know, understanding the why of why things happen and how, again, this word, pivot, how you are to pivot out of, you know, the calamity and the misfortune of the things that happen to you. Go to God and ask him what is supposed to happen as a result of this. What is supposed to happen? I remember after me going through, you know, a pretty tough time, you know, in 2018, you know, it wasn't my agenda or my motive, or it wasn't even what I wanted to do as far as like just being ugly and nasty. The bigger picture was me, one, being healed and getting healed, and two, understanding that because it was done so publicly, and the I don't want to say the backlash, but everything that followed behind it was so vicious. I knew that there were people watching. So I had to really, really incline my ear to God to lead me and show me what the bigger picture was. And one of the bigger pictures was, you know, having spoken to a couple of women who was afraid to ask me, but was very, you know, like, how in the world did you get through what you got through? Because one moment it was one way, and the next moment you looked like you was out here living your best life. You know, and I laughed and I'm like, look, make no mistake, I had my moments, but, you know, I was just in a different place, you know, when everything unfolded. It was very different from, you know, my divorce and things like that. I was just in a different mindset. And, you know, my relationship with God is so, and I think God is so rock solid that I was able to see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture, it had a lot to do with me, but it didn't, at the same time, it didn't have anything to do with me. It was more of the people, you know, who were watching. And I would have completely missed all of that. I would have missed all of the blessings. I would have missed all of the opportunities that I've had to minister to a lot of people. I would have just missed just so much had I gotten out of sorts, you know, just like Stacey Abrams, you know, because she did not, you know, she didn't allow what happened to her to sway her. She didn't say, I'm giving up, I'm just going to go and be a teacher now, I don't want to be in politics, I'm scarred at the fact that, you know, they cheated and they lied and they said mean things about me, and, you know, I'm just going to go and be a teacher. I'm gonna find a whole other profession. I can go and teach political science and be, you know, a professor. I don't want to do this anymore. She stayed on course. She stayed in the area which she was supposed to be in, and she affected major change. Crowning Glory says, this is why it's so important for us to not lean on our own understanding. God's way is perfect, and his word says what was made to harm us, he will turn it around for our good. That's right. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, and Romans 8 and 28. And Isaiah 54 and 17. You didn't wrap all of them up in your comment, and I ain't even mad at you for that. It's true. We can't lean to our understanding. Why? Because we don't know what the bigger picture is. We don't know what that bigger picture is. Yes, D'Adrian. Stay focused regardless of what was going on around us. Serena, your comment. I didn't even know she said that. But that is a really big piece. And that's a Selah moment. Stacey Abrams said she gave herself time to grieve that loss. My throat is dry. She gave herself time to grieve that loss, but her comeback was fire because she gave herself time to grieve the loss. She gave herself time to grieve the loss. And that, I didn't even have that in my notes, but that should be a number 4. That should be lesson number 4. Because she needed to grieve that because she had hopes, and I'm sure it was hurtful, and those people hurt her, so she had to grieve that. And I think that because she was able to grieve it and really deal with it and really go through it, that's how she was able to pull herself up and hit the ground running and do what she was called to do. And she did it without grievance. She did it without, she wasn't nasty about it. She wasn't petty about it. It was about the people. My throat is dry. Oh, it was about the people. It was about the people. And it was about the bigger picture. It was about I have to find an interview. I'm going to try to find it on YouTube. I'm pretty sure it might be on YouTube somewhere. But yeah, so my throat is really, really dry. I should have bought something to drink. Excuse me. Do I have any water in here? Nope. So yeah, grieving is definitely important. Grieving, the purpose of it, what happened, how you felt about it, because it's not to say that you stay focused and you do all of those things. That's a great point. It's not to say that you stay focused and you do all of those things and you just act like, everything is all right. Like, I'm fine, I'm cool when you're hurting. That's a whole nother topic. Because sooner or later, however you're feeling, it's going to come out. It's going to come out and it's going to show. And I think that she did herself a great service by grieving it, because it was more than her just grieving a lost election. It was taken from her. She was robbed of it. They were conniving, they were divisive, they were deceitful, they lied, Hey, Denise. And she did it all with grace. She did it all with grace. So what does that tell us? When we go through things, and we suffer loss, we got to pick ourselves back up. I will never tell you how long it takes, but it has to happen because somebody is on the other side of what you have endured, and whatever thing that is going to rise out of the ashes of what has been destroyed, somebody's waiting for that. All of the people that registered to vote for the first time in 2020 was waiting on her. President-elect Biden and Vice President Harris, they were waiting on her. Because without her, it would have been hard. It would have been hard. The margin between the two was quite sharp. And those key states that typically are red and have been historically red were blue, because we came out and voted, because she galvanized and talked, and she kept the main thing, and she kept the top priority. So for us, when we go through things, understand what the purpose of it is. Understand what the bigger picture of it is. Seek, God, to find out, what is it that I'm supposed to learn from this? And what is it that you want me to do with this? Where am I going after this? Like, what am I supposed to do after this? She probably didn't know, because all she had was that election that she should have won. Because it's one thing for you to lose something fair and square, right? It's one thing for you to lose something fair and square, and it's like, you know what, I got to take it like a champ, take it like a G. I lost. But it's another thing when it's robbed of you. Somebody takes it. Somebody, plots and plans and schemes to ruin what you wanted to do. It's hard. It's hard. And she rose from the ashes, and we should rise from the ashes as well. Whatever it is that we are doing, whatever it is that we are supposed to do, when those things, and here's the thing about it, even if whatever it is that we was going to do was going to land us in a higher position, just because we've been, it looks like we've been demoted. Like I was on Clubhouse yesterday, and I was talking about, like, Stacey Abrams, and I was saying that, her story reminds me of an arrow. And with arrows, before an arrow can go forward, it has to be pulled back. And it looked like she was pulled back, pulled down. It looked like she was pulled under, because she was cheated out of this election. But what ended up happening? She ended up being higher and being greater in what she did in her efforts. And look at this. She's still not governor. And that guy, that went from coach to couch, he said that, like, oh, well, you're still not governor. You did all of that. You still not governor. And how many people would do that? Well, you doing this, that, and the third, but you still not X, Y, and Z. You still sitting there doing this, that, and the third, and you still in this same state, and you still at this status and this, that, and the third. But look what she has done. Look at what she has done. So we can't allow, hey, Pepper, we can't allow, people and their rhetoric to stop us. And we can't allow our own mentality of, well, I didn't get to this place yet. I don't have this title yet. I don't have, this status yet. I can't do X, Y, and Z. I can't speak to this, that, and the third. No, that's not true. That is not true. I remember when somebody was asking me for some advice, some relationship advice, and I had kind of demoted myself, and I was like, I was very cautious in talking to them. Now, I know that I have a wealth of information because of what I've gone through, what I've been through, the mistakes that I've made, all of that. But there's some people that will be inclined to think that I have no right, or somebody who is divorced has no right and has nothing to lend to anybody that's in a relationship, or especially married. Like, nothing. You can't say nothing to nobody who is married, because look at you, you're divorced. Look at you, like you were supposed to be married, but then that, look at you, like you sitting here single. You can't speak to that. And how many people, well, you don't have this degree. Well, you don't have this title. Well, you're not, you're not, you don't have the title of minister, or, you don't have the pedigree to do X, Y, and Z. Like, you can't speak to that. And I'm sure that there are people seething now, like this woman who wasn't governor had the nerve to effect the presidential election for the United States of America, and she ain't sitting in there not one seat in that Senate. And she was able to do all of that. So don't allow people, cheat you out of you know, what you are to do, because it is those things that God will use in your lower state to show people that it doesn't matter what you have, who you're connected to, who you're married to, how many degrees you have, you know, how many college you have. It doesn't matter. I use who I want to get the job done. I use who is available. I use who will yield themselves. I feel a preach, but I'm not going to do it. You know, I'll use who's available. I will use who is going to avail themselves. I'll use who is going to grieve the loss. I'll use people who are not going to mismanage the moment because they want to settle in the pain and be reactionary to what they did and make themselves feel and give the argument that they deserve to clap back and be petty and do the things that they did because somebody hurt me. So this is why I did what I did. I'm not using those people. I'm going to use those people who are going to yield their members to me, that are going to allow me to be in control and lead them, because I'm sure that never in a million years would Stacey Abrams have thought that she would have done what she did. That was not on her radar, but it was on God's radar, because he knew what needed to happen to get this person out of office. Serena, these history books for school, they better come correct. They better come correct. But I believe that there's a bunch of parents and grandparents that are going to sit and tell their children what has happened and not allow or wait for the school to tell them what happened. So when they get to school and they get to social studies and they start talking nonsense, like, that's not what my mama said, because she showed me videotape, because we got footage. She showed me videotapes and this is what happened and blah, 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 blah. It ain't even going down like that. They better write the whole truth and nothing but the truth. The pictures better be in color and not in black and white. And you better tell the whole story about what happened. Okay? Sometimes a loss is really a win. I can benedict from there. Sometimes a loss is really a win. And that is absolutely true. And in this case for Stacey Abrams, it was indeed a win. It was a heck of a win. And the thing was, it wasn't just about a win for her. It was a win for all of us. We all won because of her. Because she won, we all won. And because we won, she really won. Because this wasn't a selfish, like, I have a personal vendetta. Now, of course, you know, I'm sure, I won't say I'm sure, but me being a black woman, I would think that at some point she must have been sitting there like, and how about that? I'm pretty sure, because I know I would be. I mean, I know that I was, you know, sitting there like, wow, it's funny how, but okay. You know, and again, she doesn't have a governor seat. She is a whole politician. McGraw-Hill is on notice. Yes, teacher. We have an educator here on in the comments. So yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, they better not even play. Don't even play, because I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of teachers now, because we've already been talking about how, you know, Black history, first of all, needs to be taught in the schools. So you better you know, you better get it together and come correct and tell the whole truth, because the entire world saw it. I said on one of my posts, or it was a comment, I said, America played show and tell on Wednesday, and they showed their entire behind. like the crack of it. They showed the entire whole hind parts on Wednesday for all the world to see. Okay. But in that same vein, what is Stacey Abrams? Her name is going to be written in those history books for our children and our grandchildren to read. That's how powerful her change has been, and we benefited for it all. So my last and closing remark, because it's 9:57, the things that happen in our lives not only impact us, but they impact other people. But the way that we come out of it and what we do with it is equally as impactful to the people who are watching. So it would behoove us to focus. For those of you that missed it, I will do the really quickly the lessons that we learned from Stacey Abrams. One, stay focused, as clearly she did. Two, don't allow the actions of others to pull you out of character, which she did not. And three, allow the fiery darts people hurl at you to become the fuel that fans the flames of your purpose. I hope that that's all of these are things that we can reflect on, whether it's things that happened to us that we didn't necessarily handle correctly, things that's going to happen in the future that will affect us. And we have a conscious, we make a conscious effort to be mindful and aware of what we're going through, even when we're knee deep in our emotions and things like that. Yep, Serena, there was quite a few women and men too that were mobilizing and helping Warnock and Warnock or Warnock. Warnock, I think it was Warnock and Ossoff. Yeah, Warnock and Ossoff. Yeah. So, don't allow the actions of others to pull you out of character. And the third one, I don't think I shared it. Allow the fiery darts people hurl at you to become the fuel that fans the flames of your purpose. Because there's purpose for everything. Everything that we go through, whether we like it or not, there's a purpose for it. And 9 times out of 10, that purpose is not only for you, but it's for other people. And other people need what is on the other side of your purpose. They need to see you come out of and come through whatever it is that you are enduring, especially if it is done in a public space. They need to see, because you could very well help somebody else when they go through, and they know that, well, if so-and-so had the strength to go through what they went through and they got through it, and they did it in a way where they maintained their integrity and so on and so forth, then surely I can. Even though it's hard, I have a guide. I have an example, a tangible example. And Stacey Abrams is a tangible example of what we can do, regardless of the cards that we're dealt with, regardless of the odds that are against us, regardless of what people are saying or how they think, and regardless of what position we're in. I wish I wrote that down, because I don't think I'll have to replay and write down my own notes. But Stacey Abrams is a prime example. So I hope that these little lessons, these little things that I pulled out, regarding our beloved Stacey Yvonne Abrams, I hope that we can learn from them. I'm definitely taking them. I'm definitely applying them to my life. I'm mirroring what she has done against some of the things that I've gone through, and just seeing how I, responded and not reacted, I'm happy. And I thank God that, even though I felt a little punkish and, felt away, I'm so glad that I took the route that God took me, because it impacted so many in a positive manner. And it kept my integrity intact. And I was able to achieve some things, that God had for me, that would have taken me longer to achieve had I, instead of responding in the spirit of God, if I had reacted in my flesh. If it would have happened at all, it would have taken me longer. And Stacey Abrams is a prime example of what we can do when we really yield ourselves and consider the bigger picture. So I thank you all for watching. If you have hosted any, I was about to say house parties. If you hosted any watch parties, I appreciate you. If you're catching this on the replay, I appreciate you. Next week on Cultivating Conversations, I am bringing back my good sis, Gidget Smith, MFT. She is a therapist, and we're going to do a part 2 talking about mental health. It's going to be a little bit different because we're not in the holidays anymore, but we do have a lot to talk about. A lot of things that, we need to deal with and handle, especially with what happened this week and how it could have affected us mentally. So she's going to come. She's going to chat it up with me. And that's on Friday the 15th. So, yeah, Friday the 15th. So I'm going to get some water because my throat is very dry. And I love you guys. Wash your hands, wear your mask, take care of yourself. Let's take care of one another. Let's be vigilant. Let's be mindful. Let's watch our surroundings. Those that live in the DC metro area, thinking about you, going to work and living and things like that with everything that happened. Those that are in Georgia, just anywhere. I mean, it's probably everywhere. Like, things are a little volatile, but, I thank you guys. I thank you guys. You have a blessed night too, sis. Okay, I will. I will. Yes, love you guys. I will see you guys next week. Like and share the podcast, the episode. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for the engagement. Have a great weekend, and hopefully next week won't be as long as a year as this week has been. Love you guys. Peace out.